Give me your honest answer. If I could offer you a skill that would help you find more satisfaction, more happiness in your everyday life, help you to achieve more, would you want it? Well, I'm going to show you in this video that you already have the skill, but the chances are you either underappreciate it or don't fully understand just why it's a powerful skill that you possess. This video will likely be the most important video you watch all month. So let's get into that skill. Before I start, I just want to address the 40% of you who cannot get through 30 seconds of a video without skipping, or the 70% that can't get through half of a video. You really need this video. In fact, it's beneficial to everybody, but take the time to just commit that you're going to watch one video all the way through. So, the skill that you possess that can actually improve your satisfaction, happiness, ability to achieve things is reading. Now, before you jump on and go, oh, I know that, let me tell you something. 90% of people watching don't know that. The reason I say it is because surveys have shown that in America, and that tends to be a rule of thumb for the West, 90% of the population haven't read a book in the last 2 years. So they may say, oh, I know you should read. But do they really? If they really knew it, they would. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to give you 3 things that reading will give to you and explain wing, and hopefully will open your mind up to the desire to want to become a better reader. So, first thing that reading gives to you, that improves you, is that it teaches you the ability to concentrate, to focus. We live in a hectic world and people are constantly scrabbling around looking for shortcuts. Do you want to know who the biggest mugs are on the internet? It's people who buy hacks, who want such a shortcut to get great success fast that they will pay people. You can become a millionaire just selling promises because people are willing to believe that there's a shortcut to things. They don't have the time to concentrate, to focus, to have patience. Reading will give you that ability. I'm going to show you the power of concentration right now. Here's a carrot, okay? Here's a cutlery knife. And here is a brand new sharp knife. Now, if I try and chop this carrot with a cutlery knife, I can't get through because it's blunt. A brand new knife, straight through. Now, why? It's simple, concentration. That blade is concentrated to a point so that the force I just put in carried straight through. It's not necessarily the scythe. I've got a cleaver out there which is blunt and won't chop. This is blunt. That's why it can't cut through. Now, for most people, their lack of ability to see things through to the end or to achieve their results comes from having a blunted mind or a blunted disposition that cannot concentrate. We're so fed with social media, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Reels on Instagram, where everything's quick, that we've lost the ability to have the staying power needed to cut straight through something. How does reading help? Very simply, and I'm not talking hours, 10 minutes of reading a day is like sharpening your blade. Have you ever seen someone sharpen a blade, maybe with a wet stone, a small stone, they run it up and down, up and down. They don't do anything amazing, they just up and down. And that constant movement slowly concentrates the blade to a point. That's what reading will do for you. It doesn't happen instantly, but just 10 minutes a day, and reading will start to help you learn the patience necessary, learn to focus the mind to cut other things out, and that skill can be transferred then to so many other things, and you will start finishing more projects and whatever it is. You'll also be able to concentrate on maybe just something you're doing in the garden and enjoy it, rather than have your mind constantly floating around on all sorts of ideas, as if our life is made up in a social media kind of way. So that's the first thing reading will actually give you, and you have that skill already. Use it. Now on to the second thing. The second thing that reading properly brings to your life is one that's talked about a lot, but is never explained very well. And it's this: Reading regularly will slowly grow your vocabulary. Now, lots of people will just roll their eyes at that. I don't need a big vocabulary. I don't need to be snobbish. It's got nothing to do with that. And most people say vocabulary is if that in itself isn't an achievement. No, there is a reason vocabulary is so good for you and how it improves your enjoyment and happiness and contentment. Let me reveal to you a very poorly understood secret about vocabulary. The extent that your vocabulary extends is the extent to which you can enjoy things. Now, you need to unpack that a little bit. You see, when we see or hear or touch something that thrills us, that gives us an emotion, a moment where we see, maybe a grand vista and we're impressed, we have within us an uncut diamond. We have that raw mineral, but it looks, if you've ever seen an uncut diamond, it just looks like a rock, okay? But a person with vocabulary who can pick the right words or the right shades of colour to describe something or the right emotion, they take that uncut diamond and they polish it to a gem. They are a jeweler and their life is full of jewels, not just rocks. So someone may see the stars at night and be like, oh, it's beautiful, oh, it's lovely, oh, it's great, oh, it's... And you can't express the feeling you've got. And there's something about putting that feeling into words, into proper form, that is so satisfying to our enjoyment. And it helps us perceive things much more deeply. So a lot of people will say it's like diamonds on black velvet, but that's a cliche because that's used by everybody because they don't have the vocabulary to express it. I once heard somebody talk about the stars as small lights scattered amongst the indigo spaces of the night. I mean, can you imagine how satisfied that person, how at peace that person was at that moment to express their emotion like that? That's not being pompous, that's just they captured what it felt like in words. That's what vocabulary does to you. You can only see things as far as you can name them. I'm going to do a whole other video on this because there's a real depth of truth in this. But a little bit of reading every day doesn't happen straight away, but you'll start to pick up new words which all of a sudden will help you see things in your life in more colour and with more enjoyment. The third thing that reading can give to you in improving your life is probably the most powerful. And it is reading teaches you how to think. Most people think they can think, but if you listen to most of the arguments and debates that go on social media, you'll realise that most people's thinking is pretty awful. Reading causes you to think. Because for a book to work, an author has to construct their story logically and answer questions that you have as a reader as you go so that you'll continue and be engaged with it. That requires critical thinking, but better than that. When you read books, good books will cause you to ask questions. And I'm actually talking about fiction here. I'm going to give you a quick example, okay? And well done if you've kept up to this point. This is from Sherlock Holmes, who we all know is this very brainy person, and everyone would like to be like him. But Watson discovers that Sherlock Holmes doesn't know that the Earth goes around the sun. He just can't believe it. This is what Sherlock says. And you see how reading stops and makes you have to think. Sherlock says, "You see, I consider that a man's brain originally is like a little empty attic, and you have to stock it with such furniture as you choose. A fool takes in all the lumber of every sort that he comes across, so that the knowledge which might be useful to him gets crowded out, or at best is jumbled up with a lot of other things, so that he has a difficulty in laying his hands upon it. Now the skilled workman is very careful indeed as to what he takes into his brain attic." Watson says, "But the solar system," I protested. Sherlock says, "What the deuce is it to me? You say that we go round the sun? If we went round the moon, it would not make a pennyworth of difference to me or to my work." Now granted, we're just reading a story, but try and argue with Sherlock's point. He doesn't know the Earth goes round the sun. I think people should know that, but actually, why? Does it actually give us anything? Would it make a blind bit of difference to a concert pianist if they didn't know the earth went around the sun? Now, it causes us to think, because we can lean back and say, actually, how do I go about collecting information? Do I just pick up every trifle? Am I just a general knowledge person? Or have I stopped to think I need to focus my attention to learn more around a specific subject that matters, that I can use and become excellent in it, extremely proficient in it? Because that's what makes a truly great person. So just reading there makes you think. And good writing, the author has made it so clear that it gets you to think very easily. And that, when you learn how to think more clearly, you are less frustrated in life. It teaches you to be more patient. It teaches you to plan far better and get more success quicker than you would if you didn't think clearly. Reading does all of these things. And here's the beauty. It's likely you already have the skill to read. But do you appreciate the power that you have with that skill? Do you understand why you should use it and just what doors it will open to you in your day-to-day life? Most important of which is enjoyment. Being able to enjoy the world that you inhabit. Reading helps you with all of that. Now, if you got this far, there's one thing I want to say. You might be like, well, I don't find reading fun. Reading is boring. If that's you, I want you to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That's more important than anything, because I'm going to be making a video soon on how to make reading enjoyable. There are so many bad habits we have that cause reading to be harder than it should be. And if you could just learn to enjoy reading, how much benefit would that bring to you? Well, if you've enjoyed this video and appreciate it, and I've asked YouTube not to put any adverts in the middle, so if there are, that wasn't me. I ticked not for that to happen. But please share this with somebody else. Share it with your class. If you're in college or if you're at school, share it with your reading groups or with friends and family, because it's the skill that everyone should be utilizing. It can help everyone enjoy life and be more content and satisfied if they just realize just what a gift reading is. Until the next time I see you, I wish you joy in whatever you read.